I'm Sylvia.
It's been a while since that fateful Thanksgiving, but the memories still sting. I remember that night like it was yesterday. I was in the kitchen, up to my elbows in dish soap, just like every year. The turkey pan had a stubborn ring of burnt drippings that I couldn't scrub out. Marcus came in and closed the door behind him. "Sylvia," he said, his voice calm but firm. "Lily asked me something." I turned off the faucet, my heart sinking. "What did she say?" "She asked why Grandma doesn't like us," he replied, his eyes fixed on mine. The sponge slipped out of my hand and fell into the sink. I stared at him in disbelief. "She said that. Word for word. She asked if we did something wrong because she's sleeping on the floor and her cousins have a bed." Marcus, ever the rational one, didn't raise his voice. "Sylvia, your kids are kneeling on the floor. Look at that sentence. Read it back to yourself. That's all you need to know." I looked through the kitchen doorway. Lily was in the living room, on her hands and knees, struggling to unroll the sleeping bag on the cold hardwood floor. The nylon kept sliding, and every time she smoothed one end, the other would curl up. Owen had already given up and was asleep on the couch, curled into a ball, with no blanket. Denise, my sister, was upstairs in the guest room with the door closed. I could hear the TV through the ceiling. Mom was in her recliner, reading a book. Nobody was looking at my daughter. Nobody was helping. Something inside me shifted. It wasn't a crack. That came later. It was more like a foundation settling before it splits. "Marcus," I said, my voice steady. "Get the car seats ready." He didn't ask a single question. He just walked out the back door. I heard the trunk open, and I dried my hands on the dish towel, folding it once, twice, 3 times. I set it on the counter, lining it up with the edge. Then I went to get my children. I moved quietly, like a shadow in the night. Upstairs, I zipped the suitcase, swept the toiletries into the bag, and grabbed Lily's stuffed rabbit and Owen's blanket. Everything was done in 2 minutes. I'd spent my whole life being efficient for this family, and this was going to be my last act of service. Marcus carried Owen, and I took Lily's hand. She was half asleep, dragging her feet. As we reached the front door, Mom's voice came from the hallway. "What are you doing?" "It's almost midnight, Sylvia." "We're going home," I replied, my voice calm and clear. "You're leaving? Over a sleeping bag?" Denise appeared on the stairs in her pajamas, arms crossed, a sneer on her face. "Oh, here we go." The dramatic exit. I zipped Lily's coat and pulled her hood up. Mom stepped closer, her eyes narrowing. "This is ridiculous. You're overreacting." I looked at her, my gaze unwavering. "Mom, the last time you asked how I was doing, not what I could do for you, but how I was Dad's funeral. 8 years ago." The hallway fell silent. Even Denise uncrossed her arms. Mom opened her mouth, then closed it. She opened it again, but no words came out. "That's not true," she finally said. "Name the time," I challenged. She said nothing. "That's what I thought," I said. I picked up Lily and walked out the front door. The November air hit my face, cold and clean. Marcus had the car running, the headlights on. I buckled Lily into her seat. She blinked up at me, her eyes sleepy. "Are we camping somewhere else, Mommy?"
No, baby.
"We're going home." "Our home." I closed her door and walked around to the passenger side. I didn't look back. I closed the door gently, like closing a chapter. As we drove away, the silence behind us was deafening. No footsteps on the porch, no voice calling after us. I knew they'd already gone back inside. That's how little my leaving mattered to them. At least, that's what they thought. 3 hours on a dark highway, and Owen didn't wake up once. Lily stirred near Zanesville and asked for water. Marcus handed her a juice box from the console, without a word. He'd packed snacks before we left the house. He always packed snacks. That's Marcus. My phone buzzed at 11:40. It was Mom. I let it ring. 11:50. Mom again. Midnight.
Denise.
A text message. "Way to ruin Thanksgiving for everyone." I turned the phone face down on my lap. Somewhere past Newark, I opened my laptop. I pulled up the spreadsheet that I'd kept for tax purposes. Joint account disbursements categorized by recipient. I scrolled to the summary tab. Mortgage supplement, $800 per month for 144 months. $115,200. Property tax, $4,200 per year for 12 years. $50,400. Denise's kids, baseball, braces, camp fees, school supplies, $18,000 and change. Emergency transfers, birthday parties, roof repair, the furnace, Kevin's medical bills that weren't actually medical bills. Total, $183,400. Exposed to the blue light of the laptop screen at 1 o'clock in the morning on a highway in Ohio, I felt a sense of clarity. Marcus glanced over. He'd seen the numbers before. He'd accepted them the way you accept the weather, as something that just is. "What are you going to do?" he asked. "I'm going to stop," I replied. "Everything." I looked in the rearview mirror. Lily's face, slack with sleep, her cheek pressed against the window, her hair falling over her eyes. Everything. He nodded once and kept driving. I had a party to cancel, a mortgage to stop paying, and a lifetime of being the foundation of my family to step away from. I was terrified, not of what I'd lose, but of who I'd be without the weight. Let me take you back a few years. My family has always been a complicated web of relationships. My father, Henry, was a hard, working man who passed away from lung cancer when I was 30. He was only 54, but he looked much older. I remember the day he called me to his bedside at the hospital. Denise, my sister, wasn't there. She had some excuse, as usual. Dad held my hand with fingers that felt like paper. His voice was weak, like a radio losing signal. "Sylvia, your mother and your sister. They're not built like you. Promise me you'll take care of them. The house, the bills. Your mother doesn't know how to manage any of it. And Denise." He trailed off, and we both knew what he meant. I promised him, and he squeezed my hand. "You're the strong one, Sylvia. You always have been." I held his hand until he fell asleep. Then I went to the parking lot and sat in my car and cried for what felt like hours. I was 30 years old, and my dying father had just handed me a family, like a second mortgage. He passed away 3 weeks later. Denise made it to the funeral, of course. She sat in the front row, weeping so hard that 2 ushers had to help her out. Mom held Denise the entire service, while I gave the eulogy. After the burial, I sat at Dad's desk and opened his file cabinet. There was no life insurance. The mortgage balance was $92,000. Property tax was $4,000 a year. Mom's Social Security was $1,300 a month. The math didn't work, but I made it work. $800 a month, automatic transfer, first of every month. I didn't think about how long take care of them was supposed to last. It ended up being 12 years. Then there was the box. When my grandmother, Amelia, passed away, she left behind a beautiful ruby ring. It had a Victorian setting and a hand-cut stone, passed down 3 generations. Grandma Amelia wore it every Sunday to church. Mom gave it to Denise. She needs something beautiful right now. She's going through such a hard time. Denise's hard time that year was a kitchen she didn't like. Mom handed me the ring box. It was empty, made of brown leather with a velvet lining and a brass hinge. "The box is nice, too, Sylvia," she said, as if it were a consolation. I kept it as a reminder. Lily's first piano recital was another disappointment. She'd practiced for 6 months and she played Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star with 3 wrong notes and the biggest smile you've ever seen. Mom promised she'd be there, but on the morning of the recital, she called and said, "Denise can't drive at night and Madison needs shoes for the school dance. I have to take her. We'll catch the next one, honey." There was no next one. Lily quit piano 2 months later. Every Christmas, I cooked, I cleaned, I decorated, and I bought gifts for everyone, including Denise's kids. Denise would arrive 2 hours late with a gas station candle and fall asleep on the couch by 9 o'clock. Mom's annual assessment was always the same. "Let your sister rest. She's had a rough year." Every year was a rough year for Denise. 15 consecutive rough years, and every year I gave a little more. I paid for Braden's travel baseball, covered Haley's Girl Scout fees, sent money for Madison's braces, filed Mom's taxes, hired the snow removal guy, and fixed the leak in the upstairs bathroom. I kept a spreadsheet. I'm a financial analyst, and numbers are how I make sense of the world. I didn't keep it to hold it over anyone. I kept it for taxes, but the numbers told a story I wasn't ready to hear. Thanksgiving dinner was the final straw. I'd been cooking since 6 o'clock that morning. Turkey, 2 kinds of stuffing, green bean casserole, mashed potatoes, sweet potato pie, and cranberry sauce from scratch. Denise brought a bag of Hawaiian rolls from the gas station on Route 22. Mom set the table. Denise was to her right, in the good chair with armrests. Kevin was across from Denise. Braden, Madison, and Haley were in a row. I was at the far end, near the wall, squeezed between Owen's booster seat and the doorframe. Lily didn't have a chair. Mom had set up a folding stool, the kind you use to reach high shelves. Marcus caught my eye. I shook my head. Not now. Mom clasped her hands. Before we eat, I want to say how thankful I am. She smiled at Denise. Thankful that my oldest drove all this way to be with us. Thankful for these beautiful grandchildren. She named each of Denise's kids. She talked about Denise's strength during a challenging year. She did not mention Lily. She did not mention Owen. She did not mention who cooked the meal she was about to eat. Silence. Then forks. Halfway through dinner, Braden, Denise's oldest, who was 14, looked up from his plate. Aunt Sylvia, you made all this, right? The table stopped.
She sure did, Marcus said.
Mom reached for the cranberry sauce. Who wants seconds? Denise leaned toward Kevin, her voice pitched just loud enough. I mean, anyone can roast a turkey. It's not exactly complicated. Lily, on her shelf stool, whispered to me, Mommy, why didn't Grandma say our names? I put my hand on her knee under the table. Eat your potatoes, baby. It was the only answer I had, and it was the last time it would be enough. After that Thanksgiving, I knew things had to change. On Friday morning, the day after Thanksgiving, I sat at the table with my laptop, a cup of coffee, and a legal pad. I wrote the list by hand first, the way I do with anything important. 1. Cancel auto, pay, mortgage supplement, effective January 1st, 30 days notice. 2. Cancel venue reservation, Elmwood Country Club, January 4th. Mom's 65th birthday party, 80 guests. 3. Cancel catering, floral, DJ, photographer. 4. Withdraw Madison and Haley's summer camp registrations. 5. Cancel the beach rental for July. 6 items, clean, orderly. The kind of list I made every day at work. I stared at item 2 the longest. I'd been planning that party for 6 months. I'd called in favors with a country club manager, designed the invitations myself, with ivory cardstock and gold foil lettering. You're invited to celebrate Margaret's 65th birthday. 80 of those invitations were sitting on 80 kitchen counters across Elmwood right now. My name was printed at the bottom as host. I opened a new email, typed, deleted, typed again, deleted. The third draft was short, no emotion, just information. Mom, effective January 1st, I will no longer be supplementing your mortgage payment or covering property taxes. I'm giving you 30 days notice so you can make alternative arrangements. I'm also canceling the birthday celebration. The venue will contact you directly.
Sylvia.
Marcus came in with 2 mugs and set one beside me. You okay? No, I said, but I will be. He kissed the top of my head and went back outside. I saved the email as a draft.
I wasn't ready to send it yet,
but I was ready to stop pretending. On Monday morning, I started making the calls. I called the Elmwood Country Club. Good morning.
This is Sylvia.
I'm the host for Margaret's 65th birthday celebration on January 4th. I need to cancel. There was a pause. Ma'am, are you sure? We've already ordered the linens. The centerpieces are in production. I'm sure. Please refund whatever you can to the card on file.
All right.
I'll process the cancellation today. We can refund 60% of the deposit. The rest is non-refundable per the contract. I understand. Next was the caterer. $6,500 gone. Then the florist, $2,200. The DJ, $800. The photographer, $1,500. Each call took less than 5 minutes. Each one, my voice got steadier. The hardest call was the bakery. I'd ordered a 3-tier vanilla cake with buttercream and sugar peonies, Mom's favorite flour. The woman at the counter knew me by name. Sylvia, honey, is everything all right? Change of plans. I need to cancel the cake for January 4th.
Oh no.
Your mom is going to be so disappointed. I know. 80 invitations. Gold foil on ivory. My name at the bottom. Hosted by Sylvia. They were already on refrigerators, bulletin boards, mantles across Elmwood. People had bought outfits, cleared their calendars. I asked the venue coordinator one thing before hanging up. When you send the cancellation confirmation, can you email it to my mother, Margaret? Oh, we usually send it to the card holder. Send it to both. I hung up and sat there for a long time. The invitations were breadcrumbs, 80 of them, and every single one led back to me. That afternoon, I logged into my bank account and opened the recurring transfers. There it was. $800, first of every month to First National Bank mortgage account ending in 3389. Margaret, borrower. Sylvia, supplemental payer. 144 transfers, 12 years. I'd set it up 2 weeks after Dad's funeral and never missed a payment, not once. Not when Lily was born, not when Owen spent a week in the NICU, not when Marcus was between contracts and we ate rice and frozen vegetables for a month. I clicked cancel recurring transfer, effective January 1st. The screen asked, "Are you sure you want to cancel this payment?" I was sure. Next, property tax. I'd been paying it annually for $1,000, mailed directly to the county treasurer. I pulled the pre-addressed envelope from my desk drawer and threw it in the recycling bin. Then I opened the email draft.
I read it one more time.
Mom, effective January 1st, I will no longer be supplementing your mortgage payment or covering property taxes. I'm giving you 30 days notice so you can make alternative arrangements. I'm also canceling the birthday celebration. The venue will contact you directly.
Sylvia.
No accusations, no inventory of wrongs, just facts. The kind of language I use in quarterly reports. My hand hovered over send. I could feel my heartbeat in my fingertip. Marcus walked through the room. He didn't say anything, just rested his hand on my shoulder as he passed, like touching a fence post to make sure it's still standing. I pressed send. The email left my outbox at 2:47 p.m. On a Monday in November, and I felt something I hadn't expected. Not relief, not guilt. Quiet. Like the house after a long alarm finally stops. On Wednesday, 2 days after I sent the email, my phone lit up with a wall of text from Denise. All caps. Did you seriously cancel Madison and Haley's summer camp spots? Those had a wait list, Sylvia. A wait list? What is wrong with you? I set the phone on the counter and went back to folding laundry. It buzzed again and again. Mom is crying because of you. Are you happy now? Is this what Dad would have wanted? She called 5 times between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. I watched each call ring through, her name pulsing on the screen like a heartbeat. Then she texted Marcus. Tell your wife to stop being and fix this before she destroys the whole family. Marcus looked at his phone, showed it to me, and set it face down on